so I played Ico. Ico is a game with a simple story. A boy who knows a girl and together must flee a castle. So how could such a simple game have become an inspiration to many others, like Dark Souls, Journey, and even The Last of Us? Well, to understand this, we first need to talk about Fumitsu Ueda. Ueda, unlike most game directors, came from a different work area. He graduated from Osaka University of Arts in 1993 and initially dreams of being an artist. This explains why Ico resembles a work of art more than a classical video game. Since the beginning of the project, Ueda had already sought artistic and a narrative appeal. And even with several criticisms and suggestions for the adoption of gamifications in the game, he always refused them. His background also served as the basis for Ico's entire visual conception, based on the works of the painter Giorgio de Chirico, one of his favorite painters. Just compare the two to notice the connotative meaning and similar aesthetics. The silence and the emptiness bring it by large buildings and open areas that both works share. However, the large open areas are not just a consequence of Ueda's appreciation of Giorgio art. Ueda also believes that allowing the player to see vast areas of the scenario increases the veracity of the fictional ludonarrative world, something that Souls players are certainly familiar with. As stated earlier, Ico has a simple story. However, this is no accident. After a few years of production, Ueda realized that the project had been lost in increments, unnecessary enemies, and useless game mechanics. Ico had become a jumble of ideas. By realizing this, Ueda applied a methodology he called design by subtraction. Everything that had nothing to do with the game's original purpose will be removed. This resulted in a simple puzzle game with elements of adventure, maze, and escape, based on two essential specs that the game should follow. First, everything in the game must happen to pass Ico's emotion to the player. Second, everything in the game must also happen to reinforce the relationship between Ico and Yorda, showing that she is not just one key to the exit, but someone who deserves care. At the first meeting of the characters, we notice their contrast. They are positioned on either side of the screen like two distant worlds. The boy named Ico has a simple appearance, unlike anything else in the game. He has tanned skin, as well as colorful tribal and simplest clothes. A social code that demonstrates he is a simple village boy, pure with a struggling personality. But Ico also has a pair of horns, which is a curse in the game universe. It's unclear what the supposed curse will be, but the design of the enemies, black horned souls, make it clear that Ico's souls is also cursed and will probably have the same fate. Yorda is the opposite. She has snow white skin and an almost divine aura in a mystical form. Her white aura is used as a culture symbolic aspect of purity, something traditionally through the world. She demonstrates her delicacy all the time throughout her body codes, although she never shows fear, reaffirming her divine and pure aspects. The game has no HUD. To Ueda, the addition of visual elements and icons does not work as an aspect of the game's ludo-narrative universe, breaking the player's immersion. Ico must guide Yorda by the hand throughout the game, and for that the player must hold press a button, emphasizing Ico's sense on the player like holding Yorda by the hand. Moreover, since they do not speak the same language, connecting by holding hand is even more precious to their relationship. Likewise, Ico is invincible during combats, and the only way to fail is to let Yorda be carried away by the Shadow Souls. This is an indexical representation, demonstrating to the player that what matters is not Ico, but Yorda, subjectively reflecting Ico's emotion and concerns in the player. And one of Ico's most remarkable moments is when we need to make the jump on the bridge to be with Yorda, and this has a remarkable reason. During the gameplay, all cutscenes are presented as a coded sign, even if only unconsciously. In all cutscenes, Ico is shown in a submissive situation. At the same time, the control is taken from the player, working as a code for helplessness. However, during the bridge cutscene, something different happens. The jump's not a cutscene and must be performed by the player. So after absorbing so many times the message of disability that cutscenes given the player, at that moment he has a trace of hope by giving him the control back, indicating that he can perform the jump. Out of this is a brief illusion. After the impossible jump, we have a new cutscene where Ico is separated from Yorda. By giving a spark of hope, the game makes the separation even worse. Now Ico and the player are no longer with Yorda, and for save the game, the player must be with Yorda at the coach, a symbol of comfort and relationship. After pass the whole game creating the connection meaning between Yorda and save. At the end, without Yorda, the game can no longer be saved. This leaves the player flustered and eager to find Yorda, just as Ico feels in his narrative.